TGIF Warriors. Was an interesting week, decent week. Thank you, AJ. Hope you did as well. RC, Ingmar, how are you? Bran, yeah, I'll lift a few veils today. Steve, how are you? Hi, Ryan, Mike, James Groom, Blake's here. Hi, Laura. Okay, so go right here. Okay, I bought some Aussie yesterday. Guys see the screen okay?
Yes, mate.
Good morning, Coach. Can see it.
Good morning, Blake and Ryan. Great week, Ryan. Great hold in euro. That wasn't much of a pullback. I went with some Aussie down here at 78. I like this formation, especially if we get some risk on, which I think is possible that we may have put in a temporary low or we're carving one out. There's all kinds of divergences and dare I say it, the lunar eclipse was last night. Anyone see it? It was a total.
Were you
It was
running the streets with your fangs out?
I don't know, but it was raining, so I couldn't.
Oh.
I didn't have.
It was storming here too, Coach.
Yeah, I didn't get the werewolf effect from it, so I could do the Wolfman Jack. But anyway, call it coincidence, but I've seen inflection points on these. I think that we could rip some faces off. The key level is going to be there's probably a ton of stops here and probably some stops here, but I think that affects, everything. Um, so, when you look at yields, they got turned back, right? So, but look at where they held. Same with the yen, just a little pullback and pressing the highs. If we start closing over 49, that's going to look pretty good. And I think that's it. I still think yields are headed higher, and I think that'll happen with the risk on move. I don't know how much to expect. A lot of the people I talk to and read, normally in a bull market cycle or something, we can expect sharp rallies, but they're saying, most people are saying 38% back of this wave. I actually think, we'll get through 38% and maybe even get up to 61.8 at 905. So we'll see. I wouldn't be short down here. I've been saying that for about a week and a half, 2 weeks now. But we did get this pretty glaring divergence yesterday. The prior low was there was no divergence. So I know you could say, well, you could trade divergences and go broke. Okay. But you know what? People wouldn't pay attention to them unless there were market messages. You still need the technical, like blue candles. You can't just keep going red. But anyway, that's what I think is going to happen here today. But then, the Democrats, if they kill the bill, we have a shutdown. I don't know if they're going to do it. The way things are going, everything's possible. I mean, for a long time, and everyone's been right. They always say they kick the can, they kick the can. You think they're going to kick the can, or are we going to have a financial accident with, on top of everything else, the U.S. government closing? What do you think,
didn't
Ryan?
Schumer say he was going to pass the vote? He was going to vote for it.
Schumer said that?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so they didn't want to take the blame.
Yeah.
They could always just come back and say, we weren't for it. We'll change it when we can, but yeah. So I think that was smart.
Recycling.
Yeah. Well, anyway, good patience with euro. It was a very shallow pullback, which is something I think Blake had some kind of level here along with you, Ryan, where that it wasn't even going to get to 108.
Yeah, it wasn't even a 24% retracement. I'm so irritated.
Right.
I took my long off last night just because I didn't want to carry anything overnight. And of
Yeah.
course, you get up in the morning and you're irritated, although it's following what I want to do because I took it off for a small loss. And then I got up this morning. I'm like, oh, I should have hung on to it, but can't live in woulda, coulda, shoulda land, right, Dale?
Yeah. Yeah. My call of the week was buying this pullback in silver 3180, prep people for it the week before. And, this has been an outstanding move. And the gold silver ratio is still heading lower. And I also pointed out the silver miners before they exploded. Here's one, the juniors. We were here this week. Okay. That's a huge move. Even AG, and this is Tracy's call when she was here. I was trading in about 5.5. Nice move there. A couple of the little guys also, look at that. In a matter of, you could have bought it here this week, but I was pointing out these 3 drives down here. So anyway, I think silver is going to outperform gold for many, 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 many months and maybe years. So I think this is just starting. But again, then the silver, my target is I'm curious what Stell is looking for, but I showed this too last week when I said why I was bullish silver is because this pattern was incomplete. Well, now we're going for a 3. Okay, so it comes in around 36. Still another couple bucks left in silver. So gold made new highs. Some people are pointing out there's some divergences on the daily. The inner 4 hour, it blew it out, but daily, we're diverging. I talked to a few people that were salivating to want to sell gold over 3,000. They had, I don't know, 3050 or something. Didn't we put something out like that, Blake, about wanting to sell gold at new highs?
No, well, I mean, it's at channel resistance, and it's very divergent here. I mean, I don't know if
I
I'd want to
thought there was
sell
a
it, but
chart of the day or something. I thought I saw
um,
something about
could
gold.
have been from Steve. I'm not 100% sure.
Steve, was that you? It's hard for me to believe it was Steve talking about, selling gold. So
Yeah, he might have been like
maybe
more
I'm,
taking profits.
yeah, maybe I'm imagining it. So that's it. It's kind of the way things look. What's impressive of all the Mag 7s is that Nvidia has been showing relative strength. I mean, wasn't making new lows while the rest of the group was, and it's coming in higher here too. So I don't know. We'll see what happens at 130. But this doesn't look that bearish to me anymore. We just keep making, we took this. Nick brought this up too. That, why didn't we get any acceleration? We certainly got it in Apple. Okay. You know what? I hope we have a face ripping rally for a few weeks or so.
And
And
Dale, if we get a face ripping rally, I mean, so short squeezes are
yeah,
hella strong. I mean, you
yeah,
don't want to be standing in the way of a good short squeeze, that's for sure.
yeah, because I mean, well, look at what happened in 3 hours a week ago, right? I mean, it was really the close and then the opening for this wave that I didn't know was going to be wave 2, but it was this bounce, and there was really no follow through, but this ripped people's faces off. So this is typical of a bear market rally, maybe even atypical because it only lasted 3 hours. They're supposed to be sharp and not long lasting. So maybe we have something on a little bit larger scale than that. But I think the market's set up for some kind of squeeze. So what?
I think you're right, Dale. I think you're right.
Yeah,
If only just today maybe a
Yeah.
bit of short covering into the weekend because we're going to have it's another big headline risk weekend.
Yeah.
We've got Ukraine meetings
Yeah.
and whatever Trump wants to tweet about on the golf course.
Yeah. Yeah. It's tougher to go home over the weekend than it was 4 months ago or
Yeah,
3 months ago, right? So,
it's tough to do it for 5 minutes, let over a
yeah,
weekend.
yeah. So, Ryan, how you going into the weekend? Stay long because the way you trade is not a trade, it's a lifestyle. So you're going to be long euro probably for another till Christmas
Yeah,
and take it off at 118 to 120.
that would be nice
Huh?
if my trailing stop lasts long enough. But
Yeah.
yeah,
All
that'd be
right.
nice.
I don't. All right. Anything new on the menu?
Yeah, we got a couple of things. We got dollar mex tapping the big 20 level. Everyone's looking at the moment.
The Blake's
Um,
on this one too.
yeah, I
He,
took a bit
he,
off my shorts at 20.01
he came
just
back from his vacation and had a good month in 3 days.
yeah, I know. God,
What a
that easy.
lifestyle. Huh?
God, wish it was that easy for the rest of
Trade.
us.
Anyway,
Shit.
yeah. So, well, he did on boots on the ground research. I saw
Yeah,
the beer he was drinking. He
he was
was
changing up
checking
his beer
everything
mode.
out. Yeah, he
Yeah,
knew.
that's what
He,
caused the dip. He was spending so much in Mexico, it shifted the rate
yeah,
lower.
yeah. Anyway, so good week. I don't think there were too many clunkers coming from our mouths this week. So anyway, good job this week, guys, and the guys that
Same to
aren't
you, mate.
here, and with the guys that aren't here that helped out. Greg came a few times, Nick a few times, Stell was here, so it is a team, isn't it?
Yeah. There's no I in team, but there is
I
a
well,
me.
you know what? I tell people besides trading, I get paid to talk. I have nothing else to say. So you could dock me. But yeah, I think that covers the board. But I think really everyone's staring at stocks now. So if they could generate something, God. So what I was getting to is if we get that type of rip in your face rally, I'd love to be able to sell Apple at 230 again. And you know what bothers me the most about this pullback, and I want to see if they can recover. It's this. I mean, B of A lost over 20% in 2 weeks. Okay. XLF, which is the basket. And then, hey, Blake, remember we had that discussion about JP Morgan? And I said, well, Jamie must have known something because it was the top. It was here. And you said, well, no, that is pre-programmed. Um, I'm telling you, he's whoever programmed his liquidation of shares up there had a great sense of timing, even though I'm sure it was coincidence, like that Jamie did all his selling up here.
Of
But
course.
whatever he sold, this it's almost 30%. So I think there's something happening. I think the banks are gonna start worrying about credit issues and people not being able to pay for things as the if the economy weakens, like a lot of people are saying it is.
Uh,
So, do you
I don't, I mean, I don't disagree with that. I think the consumer is probably a little stretched here, and so yeah,
stretched? They're
yeah.
they're stretch. What was that toy where you could stretch that guy?
This
Never broke.
Stretch Armstrong. I had one of
I
those.
see. Look at this. That's that's a problem. Hey,
that is a gnarly looking chart. Yeah.
160 coming. Uh, so give me a rally back to 250. Hopefully this is wave one and it's not just a crash, which is how some things are acting. But those are my candidates, the financials and Apple. If we get that rally, I'm not long for the rally. I'm in bond puts. So that was part of the reason for the bond puts. And you know what? Even with this big break, TLT did not hurt me at all. That's how, you know how when other markets are doing something that should be killing your position. Ryan and Blake, I know you've been there, but it's not.
Yeah.
There's a message in that, right? So I mean, TLT has been trending down since the beginning of the month, right? And that's with all the risk off, all the weak economic data. If you're a bull, you say it's one ABC, it's done, and now we're on our way up. So if you're a bear, almost got to my target, was 89 to 88. We'll see. We have numbers today, right?
We
Just the
have
Michigan.
University of Michigan.
Okay. No
Yeah,
inflation numbers.
not on the show.
Okay.
No, we don't have on the show, but we can. What I can do is I can let's actually discuss a little bit about some things that happened last night, because one of the things that we got, speaking of a rip roar and rally, Ryan, we got some news out of Germany, right?
Yeah. Well, news all morning. Potentially that maybe this deal is going through for this fund. It's all going to pass, and the debt break and all that stuff is going to get clearance. And that gave the euro a bit of a lift. I'm not sure if that knocked gold off its perch as well, because gold seemed to tumble at the same time from 3,000. But I don't know why that would be tied to German politics, but stranger things. But yeah,
Well, I mean, but we could argue that the euro and gold have a parallel relationship normally. I mean, it hasn't recently, but we've seen, when the dollar gets hit, gold goes up, and so that spike up that you saw in the euro could have been a little bit of dollar selling sympathy, or gold buying sympathy as the dollar went down. Maybe you got some of that.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, a bit flaky, bit like the headlines, a bit flaky. But yeah, but it is what it is. But I was saying this morning about the euro that I post in the chat room. It looks like it needs something extra to get it going to the high side again. And the fact that we've had this news and we couldn't even get up to the 109.20s. Back to that prior high 109.40s is very telling. It just suggests that the market is, it knows that this thing's going to pass eventually. So we're still in the same boat. It's going sideways now after that strong rally. Doesn't mean it's going to collapse all the way down, but it means that it's on the clock. And if we spend more time going sideways without making higher highs or new highs, everyone hates the euro. Sellers are going to come in, and the longs are going to jump ship.
Yeah, and I mean, after this big of a move, as I said on the week ahead video last weekend, we're at levels now that you're going to see two-way price action, and that's what we've had all week. It is really just two-way price action and the euro, but I can't argue the fact that the euro is holding up very, very well at these levels. It's not. I was talking to one of the traders in our community last night, and when I closed out my euro long, I think I closed it out for like a 20 pip loss. I was short dollar CAD, made money there, but I just wanted to take my positions off, ahead of going to sleep. I've been scalping a lot and day trading a lot. And that's been kind of my MO for the last month. And he's like, well, I can't really join you on the long side up here. And, I was just thinking in my own head, it's the pullbacks have been very minor, just as Dale, we were talking about just a little bit ago, Dale. I mean, look, we can't even get to a 24% retracement in the euro.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
sign of strength. Yeah.
That's not giving shorts the opportunity to get out. And I'm not saying that we're not going to, try to forge some sort of top here, but that's something that I think we need to be paying attention to that even if the euro does, come down and, back below 108, how far is it really going to retrace? One of the other things that I was, that I posted in the chat room this morning, I'm going to take you guys over to the Forex Analytics chat room so you can see, obviously charts that not only that I'm posting, but obviously you got Michael and Anders here posting some charts. But take a look at this is the way I'm viewing 10-year yields. I mean, Dale,
I
how do you
showed
feel
that
about
chart.
TLT here? I mean, you got TLT that's been,
Well,
recovering, if you will. But do you see 10-year yields really
I've
moving
been
too far
looking.
away from
Yeah,
here?
I've been talking about that. Best and better get note buyers in at 433 for a while, and then I said we have two scenarios: a right shoulder, okay, or a new high. But I think yields are going up, and they'll go up with a stock market recovery.
So you're with me here as far as
Yeah,
thinking that we might get a right shoulder in yields then.
yeah, that's one possibility. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind
Okay.
of that's where my head's at. What's
Remember,
up, Ryan?
Ryan, we talked about that.
Yeah. Yeah, we did.
Anyway,
By the way, 20's just gone in dollar max.
Yes, yeah. The dollar max has taken out stops below 20. And just so you know, Dale, just to agree with you, I was actually short dollar max yesterday. I closed out, made some money. But yeah, now that it's below 20, I mean, it's whacking some stops. We do have this what I think is a ABCD completion that takes us to 1985. So that's kind of where I think we're going. We might go as early as today.
we were way ahead of the curve talking about that this time the dollar was not going to be a safe haven currency before the market topped. That the dollar and the market, remember, it was confusing. Weak dollar, risk on, weak dollar, risk on. And we were saying, well, can you give me an argument on how we could have a weak dollar and a weak stock market?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, if you overlay the S&P on the Q charts, they're identical.
It was a change in sentiment. Last year the US couldn't do no wrong in terms of data. It's still
Yeah,
not doing much wrong, but
and I
market
remember
sentiment is a big driver.
And I remember during that bear raid in December, because I was there for it and I called it. I said it'd be a great time when the markets are thin for a bear raid. We had a big break. And one of the only things up that day was the euro. And
Yeah,
I brought it up and said that really left an impression on me, how the euro was up on a huge risk off day. And
yeah.
so there were signs leading into this. So, now people are coming around to it that the dollar is not a safe haven currency. I mean, we've had 10% in S&Ps and the dollar is sharply lower, right?
But and today you're seeing a little bit of shift in correlations, or maybe a shift back to that correlation where markets are
Yeah,
risk on going into the end of the
yeah,
week, and the Aussie looks like it is. I know you were talking about it earlier
yeah.
this week. I think it does look like it's going to, you know,
Come out
challenge
of here.
triangle resistance here, and it might actually break out a little bit. I,
Yeah.
I I have been a little disappointed in the Aussie though. I mean with this rally in the euro, I thought the Aussie would be closer to 64 cents or maybe above 64 cents right now, and it really has been a little
Yeah.
bit of a bummer.
Lagging.
But the flip
Yeah.
side is stocks have been pretty weak. I mean, we can't disagree there. I mean, stocks have been weak, so maybe that's one of the things that
But
suppressed
not
the Aussie.
Chinese stocks. And China's very important to Australia.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
China's been flying.
Yes, yeah. China's been where where the market's been at. Look at the Hang Seng here. I mean,
Yeah.
real strong move. Um, hey,
Amazing what a stock market can do when your government and central bank tells you to buy it.
right, right. Yeah, this is true. Hey, we got a few minutes. I noticed Steve is here. Tried to get his comments yesterday before we wrapped up. Steve, what's your big takeaway from the week, and what do you got your eyes on right here aside from gold? At 3,000, and you have anything that you're really focused on right now?
Gold at 3,000 is definitely an interesting development. Not an unexpected one. Although, to be honest, with the recent price action, I expected that before we saw 3,000, we might have seen a little bit of a deeper correction. But, that's why I don't like to fade trends, right? Because you always need to err in the direction of a trend. Having to do with everything else, we've spent the last few days consolidating the recent moves, but I don't think that the dollar is done moving lower, at least it doesn't look like it. And I don't think that equities are done moving lower either. So as far as I'm concerned, I think the theme for the next week is going to remain what we've had so far.
All right, so you're not seeing a lot of change in trend here. Matter of fact, and thank you, Steve. Ryan, what's big that's happening next week that you're going to be focused on? I mean, we've got a couple of central banks that are meeting next week. So what's hot on your radar going into next week?
The Fed next week? I can't even. You know what? These weeks are so busy. I don't have a chance to look at what's coming up next week.
We do have the Fed, we have the Swiss National Bank, we have the Bank of England, we have the BOJ, I believe. We have many central banks meeting next week. So it's going to be a big week for central bank activity, for sure.
Yeah. Well, we've had the wages data out this morning from Japan, the first round Rengo announcement, which was a little bit softer than what the demands were, but still up over last year. I don't think it moves the needle for the Bank of Japan meeting as to whether they hike or not. Probably heading to an unchanged, but this is just the first round. But yeah, as for the others, Bank of England, don't know, we had some poor data this morning, GDP data. So we're back in the negative for January. Good start to the year. And then it's all about the Fed. And there was a Business Insider headline saying that the Fed might be putting a bit more of a hawkish slant on it at their meeting. They might up inflation forecasts and look a little bit more hawkish. So, yeah, all that to come next week. But
we'll get that right shoulder on the 10-year if he talks like a hawk. If he's a meanie from Alakazini, we're going to have higher yields.
Could be.
Well, and I know the ECB is not meeting next week, but we got some pretty hawkish commentary from some of the German finance ministers, right?
You mean Hawke Holtzman? He's an ECB bod. He was talking about hikes, but he's the one who abstained last week from voting against a cut. He's probably one of the biggest hawks on the ECB board. Yeah, and he was saying that all these spending plans could lead the ECB to hike rates. I mean, it's bonkers, but Hawk's gonna hawk.
Yeah, you know what I'm most bummed out about this week, and this is one of my
what he said would be the logical path forward, right? He's totally right, but what are the chances that they're going to act based on that? Given their history, they're obviously always doing the opposite thing, right? Whenever governments are spending too much, central banks are easing so they can make the money spending, easier. They can, in essence, indirectly finance the money spending. So yeah, I don't think he's going to find any advocacy among the rest of the members to see anything like that.
Yeah.
Well, one of the big things I'm bummed out about this week is the Euro Swiss. Not the fact that we're hitting new highs, is that I actually missed, entering this week. I know a lot of people played it on the long side on this dip, but man, the Euro Swiss looks like we are going so much higher. We're at the 618 retracement, and this double bottom here plays out all the way up to about 98 cents. So real big move in the Euro Swiss. I'm like I said, I'm a little bummed out that this one's kind of taken off without me.
I'm fed up. I'm fed up.
You're fed up.
And I'm fed up. And wouldn't that make a great book title?
Yes. Actually, that is
right.
That's the title from DiMartino's Booths.
Yeah.
Is that it?
She was fed up with the Fed. Anyone
Well,
else?
hey,
And I'm not going to take it anymore, Jerome. All right, go ahead.
well, hey, no, I was just gonna say, next week is gonna be a huge, huge week for the markets. It's been obviously very volatile. One of the things I do want to point out is equities are, it's Friday.
Canadian data coming
We've had a
out.
nasty week. We didn't have data out right now, did we?
Yeah, we
it's
do.
all stuff. Canadian
Wow.
industrial.
I hope you
Rubbish.
feel better, Steve, already.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my
Okay.
voice is still on the sexy side, but
Yeah.
getting better.
Yeah. Well, being the lead singer for a rock band does take
Hey,
its
you
toll
see,
on your
yeah.
voice. Yeah. Uh, after your tour, it'll rest up. All right. So is it time for Rich, the famous guy who swims the English Channel?
It's
It
always
is. Yeah, I
time,
want to
Steve.
I want to bring in Richard, but I want to just remind everybody, don't forget, it's going to be a huge week next week. Make sure you're here. We have a lot of central banks meeting. Don't forget there's a week ahead video. I'm going to be filming that today. So make sure you're on the lookout for that over the weekend. And I want to just extend a big thanks. I know you said it already, Dale, but thank you, Steve, for being here all week. Thank you, Grega. He's popped in. Nick has popped in. Nick will film part of the week ahead video with me. Ryan, I know K-Man's out, so thank you so much for handling the flow show all by your lonesome for the next couple of weeks. And Coach, thanks for guiding us all week long. I appreciate it. I know all of our listeners do as well.
Okay. I was wondering, can anyone get on your movie set when you're filming?
Anybody. Anybody.
Because Orson Welles
Everything can
didn't
happen for
let
the right price.
Orson Welles didn't let anyone on the set. Anyway,
Speaking about
guys,
voices,
good job.
Dale,
Good. What, buddy? Huh?
speaking about voices, if any of you Yanks want to wake up to my dulcet tones in the morning, now the clocks have changed, you can catch the flow show just as you're getting up.
Yes, yeah, and actually, I catch the last few minutes of the flow show when I get up in the morning. So, and then I have to go back and start listening from the beginning. But
Then
yes,
he goes back to sleep.
Yeah. So what I hear from everyone is to be in the know, you have to see the flow show. So that's a way to start your day to get ready for the American session. Not the American, U.S. I don't know, Gulf of America. Anyway, okay, Richard gets up early. It's great to be able to talk to Dickie Matthews. How are you?
I'm
Good to have you back, bud.
Pretty good. Just how do I follow Blake's sort of Oscar ceremony, thanking all and sundry for the week? This is a bit difficult to follow now.
Well, you know what? I think you have a important message. I think we could talk about the markets,
Yeah.
but I know that you wanted to talk about the health scare and what you went through, so
Yeah.
that people, go ahead.
I really, really appreciate that and the opportunity to do that. Should we just talk quickly about the markets?
Okay, go ahead.
I think, just listening to you guys talking, it's always really interesting. I look at these markets and I just think, whatever I do, I am in the hands of Donald Trump, because he can just wake up and say, oh, I'm going to drop a tariff. Oh, I'm going to put a tariff on. And whatever trade I've done is going to be affected. So I think it's really, really
Tough.
difficult times to trade. And I'm amazed at people talking about my favorite currency, the euro, and being bullish of it. I still think that the euro is fundamentally flawed, as I've said for years and years and years. But if you look at the political situation in Europe, France, I think it's had 4 prime ministers in the last year. Germany's got a cobbled together coalition which won't last. It's just that the whole of Europe is in a real melting pot at the moment. And okay, so they're going to increase spending, and I never thought in my 70s, now that I am, that I'd be saying it's a good thing that Germany rearms. I mean, my long gone parents would be turning in their graves at the thought of that. Rearm Germany and go into Poland. That sort of brings back bad memories for people in my generation. But
yeah, hey, I understand.
I may be wrong. But I just think it's down to Trump, and it's just so unpredictable, isn't it, Dale? I mean, you and I have been around a long time. Have you ever known anything so hard to read?
No,
You know,
that's what he does best.
yeah. I mean,
Disrupts. So he's known as a disruptor, so he can disrupt flows in the market as well for a little while, but the market always comes back to where it needs to go. But
that's
you're
true.
right. There's going to be, you know, I'm a bigger believer that the market is going to eventually tell us the truth, because the world values money over everything, even their favorite president. Okay. All right. Or their party or
That's
their
right.
tribe.
That's
Right.
true.
It's so, you
The
know,
market doesn't lie.
yeah. And I know a lot of people, you know, it's harder to go home over the weekend because we have this in the back of our head. And just like everything else, I think we'll become what's it called, desensitized
Yeah.
to it,
Yeah.
and just trade your charts and just be ready. Maybe you use a little less leverage, and you let your stops, let your trades breathe, and
Yeah.
use wider stops so you're not picked off all the time.
I think that's right. I just can't make up my mind whether, instead of, you know, for a long time looking backwards, it's been buy the dip, and I'm just starting to wonder whether it's sell the rip now. I just the American
What
economy
in
looks,
stocks? In
yeah,
stocks,
yeah,
it is. I think it is. Until proven otherwise, I think this was pretty damaging. Broke a lot of trends. It
yeah,
would have been different if it held and went. But and I was bearish after we had the false breakout. I was late getting in, early getting out, but I sure was not expecting a straight line move pretty much without any correction except a 3-hour correction
yeah,
late on a Friday that rolled over Monday.
yeah,
But I think we could get some type of sharp bear market rally in your face,
yeah.
that I'm going to sell into. I had, you know, I have to sell into this
I think that's
600
right.
handle decline.
Yeah,
So that's
or
where
buy
I'm at.
puts, or just buy
A-
some puts.
And the other thing that changed, Dick, are you
Yeah,
surprised? You know, recency bias said the dollar should have been rallying during this decline. And the opposite happened, because
yeah,
if you lay this S&P chart on top of the NASDAQ, um, and Luke Roman said it was Chinese money recirculating into the Qs. But all right, so there's the dollar, right?
yeah,
And here's NASDAQ. So it's really the same thing.
yeah.
It's outflows from the U.S. So what you're saying may be translating into a confidence crisis.
I do wonder that. But, you know, sitting several thousand miles away, he is doing his utmost to destroy
Everything.
everything. And, yeah,
To start a new order.
to start a new order. Maybe that's what he's trying to do. I don't
He
know.
is,
I mean,
economically, geopolitically,
yeah, I think
everything.
geopolitically, actually, he's been pretty smart. I think with
Okay.
Russia, and it's an
All right.
unpopular opinion, I know.
You look, I hope he gets a peace deal. I
I
just
think he
hope that
will.
there are security guarantees
Yeah,
for the Ukrainians. They didn't start it. They lost their country's demolished. They've lost hundreds of thousands of people.
yeah.
You know, they should have the world's backing.
But
That's what I think.
it is
That's
interesting though, and as you know, that I've got an American stroke Canadian heritage to me, and I'm always very pro America. And I sometimes listen to some of my friends and colleagues and whatever saying it's so awful that Trump's telling us that, yeah, we've got to put this much money into defense. It's absolutely awful. But actually, why should America protect Europe? They've done it for the last 80 years. Trump's asked for it, Obama asked for it, and Bush asked for more money. And Europe's just ignored them for all these years. I think 18 years ago was the first time that Bush asked. So I actually think that Trump probably is correct about this, and Europe should pay up and defend itself, and we shouldn't necessarily rely on America.
Yeah,
You know?
that's true. But it shouldn't destroy the alliance.
No, no,
over
no.
money, over the money.
Yeah,
Okay, because you know, money doesn't mean as much in a lot of situations in the world, like
yeah,
war, You need money
absolutely.
to run a
Yeah,
war, but if you could just give away a few billion and not have a war, that's a better trade. And there are other things that make money not as important, Dale,
yeah, yeah,
and that's your health. And
exactly.
when you're in a health crisis, does it matter if you have $10 million in the bank or 10,000?
No, that's so true. And I leading and a nice seg there leads me
Thanks,
neatly
bud.
onto my last 6-9 months or so. Last year I wasn't feeling too good, and most of the year, and come July I was getting really tired. As you know, I swim every day, and I couldn't swim as far as I normally swam. I was just really weakened, and one day, should we say, I woke up and I had blood where blood shouldn't be in my wee. So, oh my God, what do I do now? Went to the doctor, sent me to a urologist, and he had a look, and he said, "Oh, this is really, really weird because your PSA, I don't know if you call it PSA in America.
Yeah, they do.
Your PSA is really low. It's like 2.4, and for your age, that's nothing. That's nothing to worry about." And he did all the tests, and I was absolutely clear on all the tests. And literally, I'm getting up to go in his surgery, and he says, "Oh, hey, I see you've got private medical insurance. Why don't we do an MRI on you? You ain't paying for it." So I had an MRI done, and on that MRI, they discovered that I did actually have cancer in my prostate, and not, not disastrously bad, but not brilliant. And if it had been left for another 6 months or so, it could have been really, really bad. Cut a long story short.
What did they stage you at?
3.
Okay.
So, could have been worse, but could have been better. And interestingly enough, and there's a morality tale here, but many years ago, I was pretty kind to a young guy called Gary Pettit, who Ryan probably knows. He used to work for me on the trading floor, and I gave him a helping hand, gave him a bit of a start in life and whatever. And he ended up as a really, really successful broker running ICAP futures team and then ED&F Man's futures operation. And during his career, he changed jobs, and he was being employed. And his new employer said to him, "I'm going to give you a golden handshake. I'm going to give you £50,000 golden handshake." And he said, "Oh, that's very nice." He said, "But I'm going to say one thing to you, Gary. I bet you haven't had a full medical for years, and I'm not going to give you this money. You drop down dead, and the money goes to your wife because she ain't going to be any good as a broker." And this is an absolutely true story. He went to have a medical, and he discovered that he had prostate cancer. And, he had a really rough time with it, got over it. And he said, "I'm so thankful for this. I'm going to do all I can to raise money." And his big mate is Ray Winston, the actor. I don't know if you know.
Yeah.
And he did a load of publicity for prostate cancer with Ray Williams. And so he knows absolutely everyone. Anyway, to cut a long story short, I phoned him out and said, "Hey, Gaza, I'm going to call in the little favor I did you a few years ago. Oh, anything you want, anything you want." And within a day, he got me in front of the 2 top surgeons in the UK. And I will forever be thankful for him to do that. And it's a morality tale to me that always be kind to people, because on your way up, you help someone else, they'll remember it when they get to the top, and maybe you're not quite so at the top as you once were. So it's worth being kind to people, even in the markets, I will say. Anyway.
Yeah, there's an expression, when you're going up on the escalator, be kind to those going down.
Yeah.
Because one day it could be you.
Yeah, that's true. And it really, really, really is true. Anyway, to cut a long story short, I went in the hospital on the 18th of October, which was, literally in about 3 weeks having found out that I had it. And they're long waiting lists here, and it's difficult to get to see these guys. The guy operated on me using a robot.
Okay. Yeah, they do. They use those.
Yeah.
I forgot what they're called. I think it's named after a composer. What's the name of that?
Oh.
Or are they Da Vinci's or what? What
I
are they
think they're Da
called?
Vinci's. I actually thought he said
Yeah, okay.
top, and I thought that's taking me back a few years.
Yeah.
Operated by on computer.
Yeah.
I was up the next day, moving around. You know, we're among friends. I had to wear a caster for 12 days, which is less than optimal.
Yeah.
But then had that removed in towards the end of October. I was back in the sea on the 1st of December. And
Wow.
you know, just amazing recovery. I'm still not quite 100%. I still get very, very tired very, very quickly. But I just want to say to anyone out there who have got male friends, you know, whether the male friend has had a relative who's had cancer, a mother, funny enough, who's had cancer, if she's had breast cancer, it makes you more liable to get prostate cancer. To go and get yourself checked out. There is no shame. There is no embarrassment in it. You know, just go and do it. I know what men are like. Oh God, this is awful. This is awful. Just go and do it. Because if you don't, it's a killer. And there are very, very few signs of it. And to be absolutely honest with you, the blood in my wee was nothing to do with my cancer. It was just coincidental.
Yeah.
As I was being operated on,
Well, you had definitely had someone angels looking out for you, Dick. And
yeah,
we're glad for it. And you're back out there in the sea. That's
yeah,
a good sign. And
absolutely. So
yeah,
all I want to
so
say is just please tell your brothers, your fathers, your uncles,
go
or
get
yourself,
checked.
go and get yourself tested.
You're sure lucky you're sure lucky he went for the MRI.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, absolutely. And they're
Or
trying to
should I
change.
say blessed?
Bless, really. I mean, I can't say
Yeah.
to you, Dale, and I know that. Yeah, I'm an old trader. I'm not the most emotional person in the world, but I know that people prayed for me, and I thank you, anyone who did. And God was certainly smiling on me and my family. But you know, just get yourselves checked, guys. It takes an afternoon, if that. You know, please, 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 just go.
You're on bonus time now, bro.
I am.
I know what it's like. I survived colorectal cancer.
Yeah, and you know, like the
12 years ago. Huh?
You know, like the buzz. You feel so high that you've beaten it. You know, famous last words.
And you're right. I waited too long. I was lucky. I waited too long. So anyway, I'm it's kind of a miracle I'm sitting here talking. Anyway, we're glad you're okay. So now you could get back to the aggravating business of scalping the pound. And I just want to ask you one question, because I know you're a pound bear. Okay. All right. Are you going to be selling it? Can you turn yourself around, Dick? I know, look, you and I are set in our ways, but let me give you another expression.
Yeah.
If you don't learn how to change your mind, you won't have any change left.
Yeah.
And keep an open mind.
Yeah.
Keep your account open. So, I wouldn't buy cable here, but I mean, this is pretty powerful looking chart here. So to me, it looks like you had a trend change once we got through 25.
Yeah. Makes me feel quite ill looking at that, actually.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
makes me feel dizzy.
All right. Well, you.
Oh, I'm gonna have a lie down now.
Well, anyway, sell more. So if it was a great short here, it's got to be a great short here, right? Anyway, Dick, I'm just playing with you. I think what's happened to the dollar has some staying power here.
It's a dollar play, isn't it? Really, more than a pound play. I think that the UK.
Yeah, it's a dollar.
We got no growth,
no,
apart from in inflation.
And the FTSE didn't do what the DAX did either. The FTSE looks a lot looks more like the Dow.
Yeah.
Okay,
Really?
so the Anglo markets are under pressure. Aussie doesn't look so good.
No.
Canada doesn't look so good. US doesn't look so good, and neither does the UK. But all
Well, I
those
can
other
understand.
markets.
And Ryan will probably laugh if he's still listening. My feelings on Canada's new Prime Minister are
the central
he's
banker.
unelected, which I find amazing. No one, not one person voted for him. And he was my second least favourite governor of the Bank of England after the present incumbent. And I'll leave it there.
There, Ryan's there. So that guy, Carney, he moves around a lot.
Doesn't he?
I mean, and you know what? He doesn't have with his resume, you would think he might have a problem finding a job here and there.
Yeah.
What do you think? Anyway, do you guys think he was a good central banker? So
second only to that idiot they've got in charge now, in my opinion, and a bit of a way behind, but he was poor, really poor.
Okay.
I think.
Well, then he's probably qualified to be the Canadian Prime Minister. Wow. Perfect for the job.
Yeah.
Anyway, look, I don't want Canada to be the 51st state. I'm not in that camp, but who knows? I'm just hoping to hit big in the market so I could buy a condo in Gaza when they renovate the Gaza Strip. Okay. Anyway, Dick, it's great to have you here and hear your voice. And are you back in business handling cash transactions?
Slowly.
Okay.
Getting back into it. So, but
all right.
Just a heartfelt thanks to everyone who sent me messages and little bits and pieces. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I know Ryan. I know Ryan loves you, so he was worried about you. Yeah. So, this is a great way to end the week with a little bit of a miracle. Oh no, not a little bit, a miracle. Because if you didn't get that MRI, you may not be here today.
Exactly.
So all right. So anyway, good fortune, and make the best out of the next 70 years.
Oh Christ, don't say that. And catch up very soon, Dale. Cheers.
All right, Dick Matthews, everyone. All right, Ryan, take it easy. Have a good weekend. Everyone everyone here, have a good weekend. Do your work, and be ready to execute Monday. And don't just count your pips. What do you count, everybody? What do you count? What are you counting right now? Glenn, Jane, Ingmar, how many times?
My blessings.
There you go. Dick does it now. He doesn't just count his pips.
Nah.
All right, there you go. All right.